Hey everyone, thanks for joining us once again. We are talking all things health, but today we are focusing on adolescent nutrition. And joining us once again, we have Wendy Lyle with Midland Health Services. Thanks for joining us once again,
Thanks
Wendy.
for having me.
So, okay, let's talk about teen nutrition, a very interesting part of a human being's growth. They're going through puberty and things of that nature. What are some of the key nutritional needs and the challenges that a lot of teens face?
So the key nutritional needs, of course, is to increase their fiber during this time and to decrease salty foods, carbohydrates, snackies, foods, kind of watch those sugary foods.
And then, so talk a little bit about the slide that we just pulled up right here.
As they grow, they need to increase, they have increased energy consumption, and so it requires certain macronutrients such as our protein, carbs, and fats. And so they can get those proteins from like lean meats, poultry, fish, egg, dairy products, beans, nuts. The carbohydrates, we want complex carbs, okay? I know when we say carbohydrates, sometimes we think, oh, a Coke has carbohydrates, or hey, that candy bar has carbohydrates. It does, but we want complex carbs because it lasts longer and it helps our body to grow, gives us glucose for the brain, etc. Fats, such as lean meats, poultry, fish, nuts, seeds, dairy products, olives, olive oil, etc.
And so does it matter as far as the intake for each one of these?
So it does. The intake, carbs should be about 45 to 65% of their daily total intake. For example, if you have a 2,000 calorie diet, it should be about 900 to 1,300 calories from complex carbs. The proteins should be, 10 to 30%, and that's going to translate into the same kind of calorie diet of about, 200 to 600 calories from protein sources. And then fats, 25 to 35% of the total daily intake, and that's going to be about 500 to 700 calories from good fats.
I feel like I exceeded the 2,000 calorie diet in my teen years because Burger King was my favorite thing.
I can tell you, I probably still exceed the 2,000 calorie diet in my adulthood. So I can only imagine. I worked at McDonald's and ate a lot of French fries.
Oh
so,
gosh,
yes,
that was my biggest weakness. And okay, so when we talk about teen nutrition, how is that different when we compare that with children and then adult nutrition?
So I'm glad you asked that question. And so during the adolescent phase, we go through rapid growth and development, and our nutritional demands, it's going to be about the same, just like infancy. You know how infants grow so fast? Well,
right.
An adolescent does the same thing. And so during puberty and these hormonal changes, such as increasing our height, body mass, bone mass, muscle mass, blood volume expands, critical organs are growing still into adult organs, our brains, lungs, heart, liver, and kidneys. That all requires higher nutritional needs as we grow. So if you imagine, we are actually in adolescence growing to become adults.
Right.
And so our body will be adult size. So that's what our goal is to become adult sized.
And so because of that, are there any deficiencies or issues that a lot of teens face if they're
There
not having?
is.
Okay.
Yes. So there's usually around 3, and it's going to be iron deficiency anemia, and then it's going to be iodine deficiency disorders, and vitamin D. Okay. A lot of these can become problems as adults also. And we can get these out of a proper nutrition and diet. Vitamin D is milk, and then of the sun, of course. Iron deficiency, you can get, iron-rich foods such as meats, etc. And then iodine, of course, we replace that with our salts. We have iodine salt.
What is what about supplements? You know how some adults, they take supplements. Is it okay for teens to be taking stuff like that too if they need some of that iron?
So they need their daily vitamins, of course. But if they need more supplements than that, they probably need to talk to their pediatrician and have some levels drawn to see if they are deficient. If they are deficient in iron, then there are iron pills. But then, of course, that brings on other problems. So talk to the pediatrician, have the levels drawn, and let's make sure. And if they do, then your pediatrician can tell you what supplements. But vitamins are always very important, and a proper diet.
So what if the teen has really bad health habits? What are the consequences long-term for them?
So long-term, obesity has become quite a problem in our youth, not to mention as adulthood. That continues on. We learn those eating habits when we're young. If we're handed sugary foods when we're young, we're going to continue those sugary foods as we get older. And so adolescents, they just continue to eat what they've been taught. And so, but in long term, it leads to obesity sometimes, then diabetes type 2. It can lead to high cholesterol, heart issues. You know, as we get older, it just kind of continues on. So it can lead to all of these complications, not to mention body image, self-esteem.
So for any parents who are watching, and let's say they have any teens, what are some things that parents can do so that they can encourage their teens? Hey, maybe cut some of that soda, maybe, you know, eat more vegetables. So I assume it's so difficult, especially for, you know, teens, because
it is. I mean, you know, and honestly, as adults and parents, it's difficult for us too, because who do adolescents idolize a lot of times? It is parents. And so we are role models for our children. And if they see us eating the bad eating habits, they're thinking it's okay. So the first thing you need to do is kind of be sure that you're modeling a good healthy habit, you know, good eating habits. Don't buy those sugary foods and keep them at home. You know, buy healthy foods, get them, you know, peanut butter, fruit, vegetables, etc. And so don't drink the sugary drinks, you know, limit juices and sodas, of course. But, you know, be a good role model yourself as a parent so that your adolescents can see that, oh, hey, look, that's what my parents do. This is what I need to do too.
And that's something that we addressed in our previous interviews with the infant and toddler nutrition, is that kids are always looking at their parents and just set the example.
I mean, it's a lot of parents are like, hey, do what I tell you to, not what I do. But they don't realize that that's not how children learn. What they're learning from is what you're doing, not necessarily exactly what you're saying.
Right. Okay, and then let's talk about sports. So we have a lot of kids out there involved in sports. What is the role and how big is it when it comes to sports and adolescent nutrition?
So the big thing is that sports teach us to be active. Active children, activity has become a problem in this day and age because of all of our technology, you know. So being active is very important for nutrition. But when you're active in sports, you have an increased nutritional need because you're burning all that energy off. And so you need to increase what kind of foods they eat that they can do, you know, like, you know, carbs, proteins, good fats, just like we talked about.
Some kids, they just are, you know, teens just naturally like that. You know, it's kind of same thing with a lot of the students who are just really athletic, which I was not like that.
Well, me neither.
And, you know, in this day and age, we talk about body image and self-esteem, and I don't feel like social media has really helped with that, but what is the role that social media plays, especially nowadays with teens and going online and like, maybe I should eat this or...
Yes, so social media plays a large part in what children eat. Our adolescents are on social media a lot. And so what they see is, you know, advertisements for a nice juicy hamburger with cheese, nice French fries. I mean, it looks great, you know. And so chicken wings and fried chicken, etc. And so it looks great on TV because I'm like, ooh, that looks good. I'm really starting to get hungry now. And so that's what they want. They want to eat that. And so social media plays a big role in the food marketing part. But also, I think it can also play a big role in showing you healthy food habits and stuff too. It just depends on where they're looking.
Right.
Then the body image comes in. What they're seeing a lot of times, especially young ladies, but we have seen more in males now, so it's happening with males. But they see models that are on TV, and they're thin as can be. And so that's what they think their body should be. You know, their image of a perfect body. And so there is no perfect body.
Yeah.
And so we need to, as parents, be sure to teach that and stress that, you know, there is no perfect body, and what you need to do is be healthy for what you and your body need, not necessarily what, you know, a model needs, because it's different. I think we as a nation and as parents needs to focus on what this self-image and body image and perfect bodies kind of do to our children, because I think it plays a huge role in what they eat, the diets, fad diets, etc.
Absolutely, and we do have an interview on fad diets if you want to check our app for that. But you have a really great point as well, and I think now when you have a lot of teens, and hopefully they are going on, great platforms that are talking more about health, which I'm not gonna lie, it has helped me too, like eating
Yes.
healthier. But there's also that peer pressure, right?
Yes.
And so that can be a little bit dangerous. So just make sure that you're, monitoring what your kids are doing online. So what are some things that teens can do if they want to make, better choices and maybe they're dealing with some of that peer pressure?
So, if you go to, let's say, Taco Villa for lunch and your friends are getting tacos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Taco Villa and French fries. But, they make a salad too, and it's a great choice. Or you can get, chicken. And that's a great choice considering, you just can make those choices. You can still have some of that, like have a chicken taco instead of a beef taco. You can teach your children how to make those good choices, but yet still, be able to eat at Taco Villa. Teach them to like salads and stuff. So, yeah.
And so you're a mom of 3. What advice do you have for any parents out there if you want to, maybe encourage your kids, hey, it's okay to bring this lunch to work. You don't always have to go to the food court or things of that nature.
So I raised boys, and so it was so much easier. They really weren't concerned with how they looked, so that wasn't a problem. They didn't deal with it, peer pressure wasn't necessarily an issue for them so much, but I encouraged them to take snacks or to choose good things, healthy things. As adults now, they do pack their lunches and take it to work because they work out in the field and stuff. So sometimes they pack good lunches, sometimes they don't, but I'll be honest there. But with boys it was a little easier, so I don't know about girls. I would say, just make it look good, maybe get a nice lunchbox where it looks pretty and, maybe like a purse.
That's very true. Especially if it's a nice lunchbox that you could show off with great food.
Yeah, because I carried Raggedy Ann lunchbox, back in the day, and so yeah.
Well, let's talk about My Plate. My Plate is a great resource for a lot of parents, a lot of kids and teens, right? So
yes, so they do have resources for teens and adolescents. If you click on it, they'll tell you what kind of nutritional needs they need. Sometimes they'll give you resources that you can go to about nutrition.
Okay, wonderful. Well, any overall words that you'd like to wrap up that you'd like anyone to know?
Just, be great role models in your own health. I know we try. I can't say that I'm the best at it, but I do try to be a good role model, and I do fail sometimes, and that's okay. I think it's important to us as parents to admit when we fail and tell them, I slipped today, I had a donut, or I had 2 donuts, but you know what? I'm going to do better tomorrow. I think it's important that kids know that it's okay to fail. Oops, I ate a candy bar, but you know what? That's okay. I'll do better tomorrow. I'll make better choices. But I think it's very important that we teach our children to make better choices.
And it's never too late to teach
It is
them.
never too late. I know as an adult now, I still try to change my diet. I have, as we get older adults, we end up with cholesterol and high blood pressure. And so I am trying to change my diet and make better choices at home. Try not to fry foods anymore. I am Southern. I am Southern. I was raised Southern, so the fried chicken and gravy, so I try to bake stuff and grill things and eat more vegetables, because that was something we did not eat as children, was vegetables. So I have incorporated more vegetables into our diet.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Wendy, thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge on adolescent nutrition. And hey, we have a lot of, interviews and a lot of cooking segments that we have done incorporating a lot of healthy foods that we kind of talked about today. So be sure to check those out. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks.